A shootout outside the Israeli Consulate in Istanbul, Turkey is being connected to terrorism. Turkish officials say one of the gunmen involved was killed and two others were wounded in the attack. Two police officers had minor injuries, and video from the scene captured the sounds of the shootout as officers took cover. So Turkey's interior minister says authorities have identified the shooters. They say they are associated with a known terrorist group, but didn't name which one. The Israeli foreign minister strongly condemned the attack, calling it terrorism. And joining me live right now is CBS News Middle East contributor Courtney Kealy. Courtney, what concerns does this attack raise in the region?
Well, this really raises a big problem from Turkey because they've been fighting terrorism in different forms for a long time. ISIS related in 2017 and 2016. One was on a nightclub during New Year's Day. So President Erdogan called this treacherous. He also said it's terrorism, and that's what all Turkish officials are saying. I do want to note that nobody was in the Israeli consulate. They did leave the consulate during the Israel-Gaza war after October 7th. So this happened on the street. It was a shootout. Two people in custody. They're from an area inside Turkey. When they say religious affiliated, that's what keeps a question mark in my head. Is this something, an attack meant to be against Israel for instance, the war in Iran or the operations in southern Lebanon? What does this mean? What is the claim of responsibility? We have to wait for all of that. But I can tell you that Turkish military and authorities are very well trained for this. They've battled the PKK for years, and then they had a huge wave of violence with ISIS. So you can see that with two people that are in custody, we will likely hear more, unless President Erdogan wants to keep this quiet. He will decide on his own whether he wants to amplify this or just tamp it down.
Real quick, is there a reason why he would want to keep it quiet?
He wouldn't want to inspire any kind of other attacks or maybe give credit to a terrorism group that he doesn't want to be able to seize the spotlight.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I want to pivot right now, Courtney, to Iran. The president, he is threatening to destroy Iran's civilization. What could this rhetoric mean, not just for Iran, but also for the entire region?
Well, it's such incendiary words, and it strikes fear in people.
Oh, yeah.
And whether it strikes fear in the regime or not is the question. Now, you're talking about an Iranian regime that has murdered people, their own people, that are executing people now, according to human rights activists and human rights websites that I follow and sources. They are proud of their civilization, ordinary Iranians. In the fight to go after the regime, the question is, do you want to lose the faith of the Iranians who want this regime gone? And to use the word civilization is to go against all that Iranians, Persians treasure, their ancient civilization. They talk about how far back they go. They talk about their culture. It's something they cling to, especially since 1979, since they've been under the thumb of these regimists. And regimists can play games too and use words too. Is this a war of words, or what's actually going to happen? And again, do you inspire any kind of support from the region, or do you inspire hatred? And so these words are important. And when they're used and weaponized like this, we're left with a big question mark of what do you mean? And what does this mean for the region? And what does this mean for ordinary Iranians? And there always has to have a distinction placed between the Iranians that are suffering and the regimists that are holding on really tight and also executing their own people, still arresting their own people. People are afraid to come to the street. They're panic buying. This is not what you want in terms of hearts and minds.
Yeah, a very important distinction there. Courtney Kealy, thank you for your time today. We appreciate it.